And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're going to get right into the show. On today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails. Now, I do this every day, but I tell you every day I'm going to do it. Now, on today's show, though, we had some special segments, and we're going to start off with John Matthews, Joe Hakos, and me, and we're going to be talking about politics on our weekly simulcast. We do this simulcast every Monday and Friday, so we pick up a lot of extra stations worldwide, and we think you're interested in that kind of stuff. And then later on this afternoon, our own John Hanson, that little old wine drinker, is going to be here, and he's going to be talking about food and wine. He's always an interesting guy. He's got a lot of things to talk about. Before we do that, I want you to stand by for news. But before that, you need to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's on its way down to 45 degrees, but it's beautiful weather, especially if you consider what's going on back east in the Midwest. There is no better place than Southern California. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's talk about the news. First thing we're going to do is we're going to encapsulate it so I can give you an idea of what's going on, a better idea of a lot of news that's going on. And then what I'll do is I will get a little bit more in-depth for you. But right now, it's the 10 things that you need to know for Monday, today, your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today and tomorrow. And first up, who got the worst of the East Coast blizzard? Well, Glengarry, West Virginia received the biggest hit with 42 inches of snow. New York City measured 26.8 inches, while 22.4 inches blanketed Washington, D.C. And next up, in Asia, Kerry urges peaceful outcome to maritime disputes. The U.S. Secretary of State seeks solutions to complaints about Beijing's construction of man-made islands in the South China Sea. And the GOP candidates spar over who's most conservative. Donald Trump likens himself to Ronald Reagan. Jeb Bush touts Bob Dole's endorsement. And Ted Cruz, well, he brandishes the endorsement from Iowa's Representative Steve King. And what Clinton Sanders learned from Obama's 2008 win. Bernie Sanders sees the president's first White House victory as an inspirational underdog story. Hillary Clinton sees it as a testament to a robust, refined political network. Yeah, she would. How about this? Video shows Paris attackers committing previous killings. The 9 men are filmed beheading bound prisoners or shooting a kneeling captive in Islamic State-controlled territory sometime before the November 13 Paris massacre. And why sealing Greece's sea border is nearly impossible. No matter how many patrol boats are out in Greek waters, attempting to force a vessel of asylum seekers back into Turkish waters is both illegal and dangerous, officials agree. And a magnitude 7.1 quake rattles south-central Alaska. The trembler knocks items off shelves and damages some buildings, but causes no major injuries. And then Shimon Peres rushed to the hospital. The former Israeli president suffers chest pains a week after a mild heart attack. And the Revenant survives snowstorm, rakes in about $16 million in its first weekend. And Leonardo DiCaprio's wintry frontier saga keeps drawing big audiences despite hundreds of weather-related theater closures. I'm going to tell you, that looks like it's going to be a great movie. And then finally, Manning wins the shootout versus Brady. The Denver Broncos defeat the New England Patriots 20-18 in an all-out battle to advance to the Super Bowl. Well, that's the news in a encapsulated form. Let's talk about a little more in-depth stuff. Let's talk about Rubio's Iowa crisscross approach, Ben's caucus campaign norm. Marco Rubio is all over the map in Iowa, quite literally. Having spent little time in the state's rural Christian conservative Northwest, the Republican presidential candidate dropped into Sioux County for the first time last week, then bounced across the state 2 days later to speak with some of Iowa's more fiscally conservative voters in the East. I'm going to trust that he knows what he's doing, State Representative John Wills, who supports Rubio, said after his campaign stop at the Christian Dordt College in GOP-rich Sioux Center. I hope he gets the chance to get up here again. Northwest Iowa is where you win. Rubio began an uninterrupted 9-day run Saturday ahead of Iowa's leadoff caucuses next Monday. His itinerary includes, His itinerary includes college towns, larger cities, and rural outposts. After months of promising that his campaign was on the verge of ramping up in early voting states, Rubio appears to be following through in the Iowa home stretch. He dismisses the notion that he's changing in the 11th hour to play catch-up with rival Ted Cruz, who has dedicated significant time and resources toward campaigning across the state. Rubio has focused more on Des Moines and the state's other urban areas. These guys, I sometimes don't think they even know what the heck they're doing. It just doesn't seem like they do in any event. It's just crazy. Well, you know what? Let's talk about the snow response in Washington, D.C. and New York City. It comes down to money and manpower. Yeah. You know, it's interesting. My granddaughter, Riley Logan, goes to NYU. She's home for the holidays or home for the break. And she was supposed to go back to NYU, but her flight got canceled like the thousands of other ones. So she's going to be leaving here on Tuesday night on a red eye. She gets into New York about an hour and a half before her first class starts. Good luck, Riley Logan. Well, let's talk about that snow. You know, the nation's capital has its largest city both get walloped, I should say, by the same near-record blizzard this weekend. But while Washington struggled to recover, New York City was mostly up and running today. In the District of Columbia, schools and government offices, monuments, and memorials, and museums were all shut down today. The Metro had an extremely reduced schedule, providing free rides as a goodwill gesture. Digging out remained such a huge challenge that Mayor Muriel Bowser sought federal disaster aid. In New York, the subway and schools were open just a day and a half after the last flakes fell, and leaders praised themselves for getting this one right. A look at the numbers helps explain the outcomes. You know what? If you think about it, Washington gets 8 days of snowfall, accumulating 14.5 inches a year on average. New York got 11 snowy days, accumulating 25.1 inches, according to federal climate data. And in the Snowmageddon winter of 2009-2010, Washington got 56 inches, and New York City got 51.4 inches. But the capital got just 2 to 3 inches the next two winters, while New Yorkers can always count on at least some heavy snow 230 miles northeast. Well, you know, it's all actually, money's got a lot to do with it. Each spends about $9 per capita on snow removal. District of Columbia government sets aside $6.2 million a year for its 658,000 people, while New York's snow budget is $77.5 million for its population of 8.4 million. The Big Apple's snow budget and population are each about 12 times bigger. Unbelievable, right? Well, don't go away, because when we come back, I've got more in-depth news for you. We'll talk about the latest. More than 2,500 flights are delayed or canceled. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know what? I told you we were going to tell you the latest. More than 2,500 flights were delayed or canceled. The latest on recovery efforts following the blizzard that slammed a large swath of the United States. Flyers are continuing to face delays and cancellations in the aftermath of a massive weekend blizzard that slammed into the eastern U.S. More than 2,500 flights were delayed or canceled today. That's an improvement from Friday and Saturday. Meanwhile, estimates of the storm's economic impact are tame. Ryan Sweet and Adam Kamens, economists at Moody's Analytics, pegged the lost economic output at about $2.5 billion to $3 billion. That's relatively small in the context of a $16 trillion economy. The figure represents lost income for hourly workers and spending that was skipped. It does not include the cost of damage to roads or other infrastructure. At least 37 people were killed in the storm. It dumped more than 20 inches on the East Coast and 42 inches in one West Virginia town. You know what? I don't think we've seen the end of it. But of course, a lot of my friends, a lot of people we talk to here on the show are going to tell you they don't believe in global warming. I think there's more evidence for it than there is against it. Well, here's an expert says, escaped California inmates must have had inside help. Boy, from the East Coast to the West Coast, right? This came in just 2 hours ago. 3 California inmates who sawed through a metal grate, crawled through plumbing tunnels and shimmied to freedom down a rope made from bed linen, likely had help to pull off the daring plan and also benefited from the complacency of jail staff, security experts said today. The inmates vanished early Friday in a jailbreak eerily similar to the escape of 2 inmates from an upstate New York prison last summer. Those men also cut through a portion of wall hidden under a bunk bed and used piping and tunnels inside the facility to reach the outside. The California inmates, including one who is charged with murder, were still at large today. Jail officials did not realize they were missing until roughly 16 hours after they were last seen because an evening head count was delayed by an assault on a guard. A major question for investigators will be how the men were able to plan and execute their flight with such precision, said Kevin Tamez, a managing partner for MPM Group, a Philadelphia-based firm that consults on prison security management and infrastructure. It's likely someone slipped them blueprints or told them how the bowels of the jail were laid out, he said. You know what? It's amazing. These guys have nothing better to do all day long. They got nothing but time to figure out where the weak spots are in these jails and these systems. The Fed's failures imperil migrant children. As tens of thousands of children fleeing violence in Central America cross the border in search of safe harbor, overwhelmed U.S. officials weakened child protection policies, placing some young migrants in homes where they were sexually assaulted, starved, or forced to work for little or no pay. Without enough beds to house the record numbers of young arrivals, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services lowered its safety standards during border surges in the last 3 years to swiftly move children out of government shelters and into sponsors' homes. The procedures were increasingly relaxed as the number of young migrants rose in response to spiraling gang and drug violence in Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador, according to emails, agency memos, and operations manuals obtained by the Associated Press, some under the Freedom of Information Act. First, the government stopped fingerprinting most adults seeking to claim the children. In April of 2014, the agency stopped requiring original copies of birth certificates to prove the most sponsors' identities. The next month, it decided not to complete forms that request sponsors' personal and identifying information before sending many of the children to sponsors' homes. Then, it eliminated FBI criminal history checks for many sponsors. Since the rule changes, the Associated Press has identified more than 24 children who were placed with sponsors who subjected them to sexual abuse, labor trafficking, or severe abuse and neglect. This is clearly the tip of the iceberg, said Jacqueline Habaugh, research director at the FXB Center for Health and Human Rights at Harvard University. We would never release domestic children to private settings with as little scrutiny. Boy, I'll say that's horrible. I think that's the only thing I can say, is that's horrible. Well, Cruz and Clinton call for calmer talk ahead of Iowa contest. Ted Cruz and Hillary Clinton both called for lowering the temperature in the presidential primary race today, even as their campaigns and supporters kept up their attacks with a week to go until the Iowa caucuses. Campaigning at a pizza place, Cruz passed up an opportunity to take a swipe at Donald Trump, who has been hitting Cruz as the Texas senator has climbed in the polls. Until recently, Trump and Cruz had avoided direct confrontation on the campaign trail, but Trump's description of his opponent as a nasty guy seemed to invite a response. I will not engage in insults, Cruz said. In Manchester, Iowa, I will not engage in personal attacks. Donald has changed how he has approached me. He is now insulting me every day. He can do that. That is his prerogative. I do not intend to respond in kind. But behind the scenes, Cruz's campaign was on the air with an ad assailing Trump over his business practices, while a super PAC supporting Cruz unleashed its own ads criticizing Trump. Cruz said he would continue to sing Donald's praises personally while pointing out policy differences with the real estate mogul. These guys, you know what? It's like a chess game, right? It's just unbelievable. It's just stuff just keeps going and going and going. Well, don't go away, folks, because when we come back, I'm going to deal with the IRS loses. First case up is a telephone hearing absolutely can be recorded. And I'm going to tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? a professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Okay, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. Let's not waste any time. Let's get to it. And then right after this, we're going to do our simulcast with John Matthews and Joe Hakos. I'm looking forward to that. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about, but I can guarantee you it'll be stimulating. But first off, the IRS loses. A telephone hearing can be recorded. Now, when Emery Seaman faced a levy for back taxes, he requested a collection due process hearing, and the IRS scheduled one to be held by phone. He then told the IRS that he intended to record that meeting, but the IRS responded that this wasn't allowed. When Seaman insisted, the IRS said that he had forfeited his right to the hearing. Seaman went to court, and here's what the conflict was. The tax code specifically allows taxpayers to record CDP hearings, but the IRS said that it does so only with in-person hearings. Now, this is what the judge actually said. A phone call can be considered made in person, and there's no logic as to why face-to-face hearings can be recorded, but phone hearings not. So Seaman gets his hearing, and he gets to record it, and that is the way it should be. Well, I got a case here that the IRS conceded, and you've heard me say it many times. They only concede when they're pretty sure they cannot prevail in tax court. Here's this case. Unexpected pregnancy and breakup gives tax break on a home sale. Now, in this case, an unmarried couple bought a home and moved into it. 7 months later, the woman discovered that she was pregnant. The couple then broke up. They intend to sell the home because it is not big enough for two adults to live in separately with a child, and neither can afford it alone. Here's the IRS ruling. The primary cause of the home sale is an unforeseen circumstance, so each owner qualifies for tax-free gain on the sale. The maximum amount of such gain equals the length of time that the owner owned the home and used it as a primary residence divided by 2 years or 24 months, multiplied by $250,000, the maximum gain allowed if it had been owned the full 2 years. So hopefully you can see the logic in that. And here's another case for you. The IRS loses. They sent a notice to the wrong address, even though they knew the right address. Here's the case. David Buffano filed a tax return from Wheaton, Illinois. He then moved to Milford, Illinois, and reported his move to the post office. When he didn't file later year's returns, an IRS office sent notices to his Milford address. When he didn't reply, another IRS office sent final levy notice to the Wheaton address. When Buffano didn't receive it until after the deadline for answering, he argued that it was invalid since it was misaddressed. The IRS said the notice was properly sent to the address on his last filed tax return, and here's what the judge said. That is the proper address only if the IRS doesn't have a later, better one in its files, which it did. And so the IRS notice is deemed to be invalid. Yeah. Well, what do you think about this? Being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff? That's where we're at when we talk about inside the IRS. It's sort of like being inside the Twilight Zone. Oh yeah, you're gonna find this really, really interesting. These things, I like these as much as I do the IRS losers most of the time. They're just really, really cool stuff if you think about it. Here's the first one: turning betting losses into business losses. Yeah, you heard me right. You may not have to be a full-time professional gambler to get a tax break from gambling losses. Now, in a recent tax court decision, the court ruled that an individual could deduct losses from horse race betting as a business loss. How? The taxpayer pursued the activity regularly and with continuity and operated it in a business-like manner. Essential for any business loss to be deductible, the taxpayer must prove a profit motive. As long as you continue to try something new to make a profit, it is hard for the IRS to argue that you lacked a profit motive. Now, it may be possible to sustain a tax-deductible loss from casino activity if you keep very accurate records, visit casinos on a regular basis, and can establish via your records that you changed betting strategies in an effort to generate profits, even if you are not a professional gambler. Give that some thought. And let me give you one more before we go on our break. When you lend money to your employer, you ever heard of this before? Sure you have. Although not common, there are times when an employee will provide working capital to his or her employer. Now, if the debt is not repaid, the loss will generally be treated as a short-term capital loss limited to an annual deduction of $3,000. But better opinion here, or option, claim the loss as an itemized deduction called bad debt from an employer on Schedule A if you can establish that the primary purpose of making the loan was to protect the payment of your salary. Now take note, be aware that making the deduction may trigger alternative minimum tax. So check with your financial advisor before you do any of those things. You'll be glad that you did that kind of stuff. Now, do not go away excuse me, do not go away, because we're getting ready to do a simulcast with our own John Matthews and Joe Hakos. They're going to be with us in about 5 minutes. And so we're going to go for a short commercial break. We'll come back. We'll be with them, and we're going to talk politics during the next segment. You're going to enjoy it. So don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. John Matthews.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? We're getting ready to do our simulcast with John Matthews and Joe Hakos. You know what? Two fantastic guys, really knowledgeable guys. We try to get this timing done right. We're about a minute and a half before they come on. You know, and I'm guessing that with what's going on in politics today, they're going to have a lot to be talking about. One of these days, I mentioned it last week, we're going to actually have a show where one of the three of us at least disagrees, and we're going to be able to get into a real debate. And I'm looking forward to one of those times. I may even just create it artificially sometime just to have fun. These guys, very knowledgeable. They might be upset at the position that I take, even though the position I take, might not be the one I actually believe in. So you want to kind of keep that in mind a lot of times. But this simulcast that we're doing with John is phenomenal. We actually pick up the Pundit Press, PNN Talk Radio, and SHR Media Radio with the Conservative Syndicate. We do that every Monday and Friday from around 3:35 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, it gives us some diversity, gives us, even if you don't agree, gives us something to be thinking about. And I think that that's a valid thing for us to be doing. And, you know, and obviously what I'm doing right now is I'm just killing time waiting for them to plug in on the simulcast. Once they do, we'll be good to go, and we'll be having a good old time here. It looks to me like they've got about 20 seconds or so before they pop in, and they're usually pretty timely about this. You ought to know that at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time, currently 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 45 degrees. If you live in New York City, it's 6:34 p.m. today, and it's 35 degrees and clear outside. I'll bet you they're glad for that, considering the 26 inches of snow that they just had to endure. That's unbelievable. Now, for you and me, that might be some fun for a short period of time, but I don't know that I'd want to live through that. And I understand they have another blizzard on its way, so they got to be a little careful about where they're going with that. Now, that looks like my good buddy John's running just a hair on the late side. I'm not sure why he hasn't called in yet, but I'm sure he will any second. He sometimes gets caught up in a conversation and he runs in a little bit late, but well, he'll be here. He'll make it happen. You know, I'm not sure. He might be having an argument with Joe. Joe Hakos is in Florida, and John is in Los Angeles County. I'm sitting in San Bernardino County, and then we have listeners all over the world. So we're going to see what's happening here. Sooner or later, they'll pop in on us and let us know the extent of what's happening. I can't believe that they haven't called in yet, to be honest with you. There he is. Now we've got him. I was beginning to think that my good buddy John Matthews was never going to call in here. I've been ad-libbing for 3 minutes.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, John Joe, how you doing?
Good, Bob.
So listen, did we find something controversial to talk about, or do you want to talk about how it looks like it very possibly could be a Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump, or Ted Cruz race?
Wow, what a coincidence.
Gee, I don't know, Bob. Is that controversial?
Well, you know what? Probably not, since they all think and act the same.
Well, I don't know about all that, Bob.
Oh, yeah. One guy wants to give away the farm, the other guy wants to sell you the farm, and the other guy just doesn't give a damn.
Well, you want to go first, Joe?
No. I want Bob to explain that one.
You know, I'm absolutely flabbergasted at the turnaround between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Looks like she's got a really serious fight on her hands. Not that I really care, but you know what? As a conservative, I think it's going to be really interesting to have a fight against what I think is going to be Donald Trump, who's going to take a sweep here, and Bernie Sanders may be his opponent.
Well, we've been talking about this all last week. In fact, I made the comment to one of our producers this morning, one of the producers that count us down before we come on the air. Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah, be prepared because we're loaded for bear today on Donald Trump.
Let's do it.
There's a couple, the situation in the Democrat Party is really 6 of one, half a dozen of another. There is talk out there in the media that Bernie Sanders, Bernie Trump.
Hey, you know what? I bet they are related. If you check on it, if you look for the birth certificates of these guys, I'll bet you that way back there they are related.
Well, I think what it is in the Democrat camp, you've got two real schools of thought here. One, Bernie Sanders would have a hard time beating anybody on the Republican side, and therefore the Democrats may not want him. And my thought is that Bernie Sanders, I'm sorry, Joe?
So hence the Bloomberg candidacy.
Oh, yeah, but where the heck is Joe McCarthy when you need him? That would take care of Bernie.
Well, let me get to my back of my thoughts. It goes like 8 different directions with this. But the point being is that whether Bernie Sanders wins the nomination or not is not really going to bother the Democrat Party. that what there is they'd be forced to finally admit that, yes, they're all quote unquote democratic socialists, but it doesn't really matter to them. This is all show. If Hillary gets it, that's great. If Bernie Sanders gets it, that's great, because whoever gets it, the thought is, or the belief is that Obama 3.0 will enter into office. At least that's what they hope. And that's what they're putting everything on there. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is out there scheduling debates on Super Bowl Sunday.
That woman has got to have her head stuck in the sand. If she is gonna schedule something on Super Bowl Sunday, how stupid can that be? The other thing is, you got Bernie Sanders, who's sitting out there and is a confessed communist. He says democratic socialist. He's a communist. But the thing that's going to be interesting, and I can't wait, is to see if Michael Bloomberg does come on board. We're going to see a battle of the wallets between Trump and Bloomberg.
Well, it'll be interesting, because I believe that if Bloomberg comes on board, if he does, I mean, we've talked about this last week about the filing requirements and everything else. It would be a wild card in the sense of just getting on the ballot. That in and of itself, because of the time frame and everything, but he would run as an independent, which might alleviate some of those problems. Not with the states, because the states have their rules, but what you're talking about here is he would definitely take Hillary Clinton votes. Yeah. I don't know that he would affect the Sanders crowd, because the Sanders crowd is like the Trump crowd. They're not listening to anybody but the guy playing the music.
Well, the interesting thing, John, about the Sanders crowd is he has a young crowd as opposed to an establishment that Hillary's got. And so I think you're absolutely right. So and the same thing with Bloomberg, he's got an established crowd, not a young crowd. Matter of fact, the young crowd doesn't like Michael Bloomberg. So if Bloomberg comes on, he can hurt the Democrats if Hillary is the nominee, and GOP has got to love it if Bloomberg comes in.
Well, again, this race is sizing up one way. This is the GOP's, once again, this is the GOP's race to lose. Yeah. And the way they lose it is if those people who are out there right now following Donald Trump down the road to utopia, if they continue down that path, this could end up any number of ways. We may have a brokered convention to pick the president.
You know what? And you're right. I mean, I don't know if you've been. I was going to make the stupidest comment. I was going to say, I don't know if you've been watching the news. That's all you guys do. I was watching Elizabeth Warren, and now she's attacking Hillary Clinton. At first, I was thinking the only hope that Hillary Clinton had was Elizabeth Warren. If Elizabeth Warren would run on the ticket with her, now it looks like Elizabeth Warren is after her throat, which is going to make things even worse, because she is absolutely bomb blasting Hillary with regard to what she's doing on Wall Street.
Well, Elizabeth Warren is Bernie Sanders' love child. If she's going to support anybody, it's going to be Sanders.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You're right, because
socialistic as he is. So that doesn't surprise me at all. What I was surprised, as far as Elizabeth Warren goes, I was surprised that she actually didn't run for president. I really thought at the beginning of this thing that they would, twist her arm and get her into the race, because she would be much more representative of the socialism in a much better way than Bernie Sanders is. Bernie Sanders looks like, the mad Uncle Joe out there, with the messed up hair and
he looks like the guy from, I was trying to think of Back to the Future. Doesn't he look like the professor in Back to the Future?
Scott.
Yeah, Joe. And I keep thinking that, God, wouldn't you love to be a fly on the wall? I would love to have been in some of these back room meetings where Hillary and Warren and Sanders and all these people have been talking, and all the threats and all the negotiating and all the planning that's going on. This is getting to be a really interesting race.
Well, it's not really a race right now. It's more like a crap fest. It's just, everybody's throwing what they've got out there, and the season. It's the right time for this type of politicizing, because there is enough frustration in America amongst the electorate that people would just follow the loudest voice. That we were talking earlier, just before we came on with you, about how we see many people on the right now who brandish the conservative label and proudly wear it on their chest, and they're basically starting to sound like true believers.
Yeah. Do you know what this thing? Both sides, both the conservative side and the liberal side. It reminds me. Remember when they were having the land grabs during the 1800s, and people were squatting for land, and they had these big races, and they were on horses, and they were in wagons, and they were on all these things. This is what this race is reminding me of. It's just a charge of people to see who can get to the end and to their little plot of land first.
No, I think it's not a plot of land. I think it's a cliff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See if they go over it.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't. You know what, Joe? I wouldn't be disappointed to watch that. It reminds me of Quigley Down Under. You know, when these guys were pushing these Aborigines over the cliff. That could be the people running for president. I wouldn't be disappointed.
Well, no. It's just not. They won't go over the cliff. It's everybody else will go over the cliff. That's the unfortunate part.
They will stand at the edge of the cliff and point, and everybody will go that way.
They'll keep going.
Where could we move to?
I'm sorry?
Where are we going to move to?
Well, it remains to be seen. Maybe what we ought to do here, let us take our break here. When we come back, we'll answer that question for you, or try to answer it.
All right. We'll be right back with John Matthews and Joe Hakos in the Conservative Syndicate after these brief messages. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino.
John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Yeah, I think Robert was asking, well, if it doesn't turn out, where are we going?
Yes. Yeah, where are we going to move to?
I'm not moving anywhere. I'm going to stay where it's warm.
You know what? But you know what? If the Earth is tilted the way I think it is, Joe, you better get ready for a flood because all that water from all that snow is coming your way.
That's okay. I'll get over it.
So, well,
as far as I can tell, at this point, at this juncture, I think regardless of who gets elected in the White House, we're still going to be stuck with the stagnation in Congress. And the reason being, if the left gets in there, if Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton gets in there, well, that just plays right into the hands of McConnell and Paul Ryan and the rest of them, is that they can just continue their narrative that we've got a Democrat in the White House. There's not a whole lot we're going to be able to do to stop this. And so it's going to be business as usual. If Bernie Sanders gets in there, based on the way he wants to do things, is everything. Democratic socialism requires that everything is done democratically, which means everything is done by the vote. And so what you have to do now is you've got to put all this stuff. You're going to overload Congress with all these rules and regulations and this tripling of the tax budget and everything else. Well, I don't even think the Republicans are that dumb to go along with that. So that's basically going to be.
Wait a minute, John.
We'll have
what did you just say?
Yeah,
did I hear you right?
Mitch McConnell will be piling the bill up as Harry Reid did. That'll happen. If Ted Cruz gets elected and sits in the White House, I think you're going to see a change in the Republican Party, but it's not going to be a change for the good.
Well, you're not going to. You know what? Let's be honest. I don't think Ted Cruz is going to get it. And unfortunately, it looks like it's a three-way race there. It's going to be Trump, Cruz, and Rubio, because they're all coming up into double digits here. Although it looks like Trump was running away with it. He took back the polls in Iowa. He wants to make a clean sweep of all the states. If he does that, it's going to be tough. And then we're going to be back to making him prove that he did master the art of the deal, because boy, if he can't make a deal in Washington D.C., we're all sunk.
Well, again, the point being, if the conservative faction of the Republican Party remains as ignorant as they currently are now, meaning that nobody is really paying attention to what his history shows us and what he'll do once he gets in office. Well, we're looking at, if Trump gets elected, we're looking at Barack Obama on steroids, because this guy is going to try to govern by decree. He's going to get up there and say, this is what I want. And what we'll have is, we may have a rather good fiscal policy initiated, but the social issues that drive conservatism are going to go out the window, because Trump has already stated that. He believes in single care health care system. He believes in abortion. None of those things that the conservatives are all sitting here ranting and raving about, that by putting a conservative in the White House. Another thing is to understand that Trump has never said he was a conservative. He's never acknowledged being a conservative. He is a Republican who loves Democrats.
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right. Because here's the thing. Let's go back a little bit, John. We started off talking about Bloomberg. Bloomberg was a Democrat who became a Republican so that he could be mayor of New York, and now he's becoming an independent so that he can run for president if it looks like Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton might win.
Well, like I said, if Bloomberg, whatever happens on the Democrat Party is irrelevant, really, because it's going to be the same thing no matter which one of them ends up getting it. Yeah. It's going to be, it's just going to be a matter of, do we accelerate into hyperspace with democratic socialism under Bernie Sanders, or do we just retain the status quo under somebody like a Hillary Clinton or even a Michael Bloomberg, which I don't think he has any chance of running either. His candidacy will be more like a protest candidacy. So whatever happens on the left is we already know that's set in stone what these people are going to do.
Well, I'm not so sure that that's accurate, John. If you go all the way back to, and why can't I think of his name? The big-eared guy that was in the Independent. Gosh, why can't I think of his name? That was. No. He's got big ears too, but and a big head. I'm thinking about the guy that was running against Bush and Clinton. What was his?
Ron Paul, wasn't that?
No. The business guy.
Ross Perot.
Yeah, Ross Perot. Ross Perot actually was doing really well. He was upsetting the whole apple cart as an independent. It's the first time that I've seen an independent candidate get that kind of action. And it wasn't until he picked his vice president, and I can't think of his last name, and nor is it important to me. Stockwell, yeah. It wasn't until he picked Stockwell, who couldn't put a cohesive sentence together to save his soul, that Perot went down the tubes. I don't think that Michael Bloomberg is that far out there. I think if he decides to run, and he's already committed to put $1 billion of his own money into it, which is what it would take, he's not going to pick some lackluster person to run with him. He's going to pick somebody strong.
Well, again, it's a matter of what you're looking at here. When you look at the polls and you assess what's going on out there, the Democrats' biggest problem across the board is going to be voter turnout. And so if Bloomberg enters into this race, it's already been projected the turnout to vote for Hillary Clinton is going to be low. And so you throw a Bloomberg in the mix, it's really not going to affect anything in terms of the outcome. The person that stands to gain the most right now is Bernie Sanders. If he can get all those college kids to the poll, then he's got something going on. Whereas the establishment side, the Bloombergs and the Clintons, they're really going to have a hard time getting their people even to show up.
Well, you know what? But that's good news for you and me, because the truth is that I just cringe when I think about Hillary Clinton getting into the White House. I cringe, and I don't even know why O'Malley hasn't quit yet. Matter of fact, I don't know why a half a dozen of the GOP running people haven't quit. Anybody below third place should be out of there. I don't know why they're wasting our time or wasting our money. And when you do get them out of there, the 5 that are left scare the hell out of me.
Well, I think just in the same way you cringe about Hillary Clinton, we're cringing about the idea of Donald Trump getting in the White House, because I think it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be you're going to have a narcissist with an ego who thinks he can rule by decree. And if you don't get in line with him, we were joking. I wonder how many staff members he'll go through. Yeah. His administration, he's gonna be sitting in the room thinking he's on The Apprentice.
Well, you know what? But you know what? With all due respect, I'm not so sure. I mean, I certainly haven't made a decision yet. But the truth is, if he's the nominee, he is going to get my vote. And I'll tell you, I like the idea that somebody's going to go in there and kick ass, that they're going to beat up, they're going to do something to make something happen. Whether I like it or not, something's better than nothing.
Yeah, maybe he'll just take Mitch McConnell out and shoot him on Pennsylvania Avenue instead of...
Oh, I'm glad you said that, not me, Joe.
Well, because he can get away with that and not lose a vote.
Well, I mean, yeah, absolutely,
Well, that's the narcissist.
Look at Dick Cheney. He might be like Dick Cheney. He can shoot some guy in the face point blank with a shotgun and miss.
On now, really? It's not.
I think the biggest thing that if you want to talk about uncertainty, the uncertainty to me would be if somebody like Ted Cruz gets in office, because Congress will now have to make a decision. We either govern the way that we're supposed to, or we just completely resist what Ted Cruz wants us to do, which now exposes them. So how the Congress would react is the key to this whole thing. Yep. We know a Bernie Sanders, a Hillary Clinton, a Michael Bloomberg, the narrative is going to stay the same. The Republicans will give them what they want so that they don't get branded as haters and racists and bigots and everything else.
But Joe, the Congress and the House of Representatives and the Senate already hate Cruz.
Oh well, I don't think that's as embedded in stone as people want to make it out to be.
But they want to play. But they want to play. They're going to play. I mean, if they want to have anything, because if they don't do anything, they're going to get shown for, like just John said. Yeah. So they're going to have to do something. So they're going to have to get along with it. Right now, they don't have to get along with Cruz because, well, inconsequential. He's not the guy.
And if they don't do anything, they're going to look like Steve Martin in The Jerk, walking the street with a thermos and a velvet-covered chair, or trying to figure out what to do next.
They're all blowing up for some reason. I don't know what's going on. As somebody's shooting at them.
Well, you know what? I got to tell you, it's I hope the hell it's not Bernie Sanders. And the truth is that any of the other three guys, other than Rubio, and I'm not real nuts about Rubio, but any of the other three guys, I think you're going to see a new revolution. I think hopefully, with any luck at all, guys, we're going to see a revolution at the ballot box. And I hope that it's not a revolution where we send college kids into the ballot box that overcome the more mature roles of decision making, and we wind up putting somebody in the White House that just wants to smoke dope and play games.
Well, I sure as hell hope it's not like the French Revolution.
Yeah, well, let them eat cake.
Oh, it's worse than that.
At this point in the game, I don't know if this point in the game, that wouldn't be a bad idea, seeing people going in and ransacking the White House.
Okay.
We have, definitely, you're right about one thing, Bob. We're on the verge of, we're in the process of another revolution.
Yeah.
What we have here, if you go back, just compare this to history. What we have here is we have a very disgruntled public who feels that they're not being represented. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, they're saying we're not being represented. That was the premise on which our revolution came to a reality. Now, how that plays out, that remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, the seeds are there. And we'll see what happens here.
Well, we're going to have to see on next Friday, because right now I'm way out of time.
Yeah, so are we.
All right, guys. Hey, have a great one. It was a great show. I'm looking forward to Friday with you.
All right, we'll talk to you later, my friend.
All right, take care. Now, the rest of you, don't go away. When we come back, we'll be with that little old wine drinker, John Hanson, and we'll be back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
When they ask who's a fool in the corner crying, I say, a little old wine drinker me.
And now, from the middle of a vineyard somewhere, a man who's never met a grape he couldn't cuddle up to, our resident advanced sommelier, John Hanson.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:03 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. On its way down to 47 degrees. But you know what? If you live in Chicago, Illinois, it's 6:03 p.m. and 39 degrees and overcast. But I want everybody to know that my good buddy John Hanson, that little old wine drinker, he's waiting in the wings. And little does he know that I'm trying to pick myself up off the floor. I had a coronary waiting for him to call in. I was sitting here ad-libbing, stretching everything as much as I could. And finally, the man has compassion on me and rings through. John, welcome aboard.
Bob, you gotta love Southern California, my friend. I'm gonna tell you my day right now.
All right.
Okay. Well, you know my good buddy Ron Gill. I've known Ron almost as long as I've known you, and gosh, you guys used to meet up in Cala and so forth back in the late '80s, early '90s, and so forth. And you're my consultant, my tax guy, everything, but Ron's my insurance guy and so forth. So I had my yearly meeting with Ron today, and it was funny because we met up, and we'll get into this because we're changing the format today. I was trying to stay with the wines and so forth. But what a great weekend for football. And I always do my Super Bowl party with Ron out in Vegas. So we're going to Vegas and we're doing an extended party and so forth for Super Bowl weekend. And but not to make a long story short, we had lunch. So what my first anticipation was okay, how long is it going to take me to get there? Because we met at this, I don't know, have you ever had lunch or dinner at the Golden Spur?
Yes.
It's on Route 66 in Glendora.
I've been there many times.
Oh, but what's funny, Ron used to take his dates there in high school, and that's how long this place has been. And Ron's basically your age. I think he's like 2 years younger than you. So, so we meet out there, and I'm going, okay, it took me almost 30 minutes to get out there. I'm going to leave an hour to make sure I get back in time to do the radio show. Bob, I had to pull off the side of the road. I'm on my cell phone doing the radio show right now.
John, you should have
loved Southern California.
You should have just.
I'm not even supposed to be home.
It would have been easier for you to just come over here to the studio and we do the show together.
I was thinking. I was thinking that.
Yeah, I'd have opened up a nice bottle of wine. We would have seen who could have lasted the longest on the air here.
Stop it. And you know what would have happened? We would have called Raina and we would have had dinner at the Casa Cardoza and did one last dinner at the Casa Cardoza out there. And seriously, that's so funny. I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I could probably make it to Bob's house sometime. But let's see if I can make it back. As soon as I got on the 57 and bumper to bumper, I'm like, oh my God, I got an hour to the show. I got down to Loma Linda Boulevard, basically. I'm like, oh my God, it's 7:50. So I got to pull off and do the show off the side. So here I am in the parking lot doing the show. But I tell you, we're going to reminisce about old restaurants like that. And of course, the Super Bowl's coming up. What a great weekend for football. What a couple of one great game. And then Palmer decided, I honestly, Bob, I thought Arizona was going to upset the Panthers, but I didn't know Carson Palmer was going to throw 5 interceptions and 2 fumbles. You're going to be an undefeated team and playing a team that ever won a game. If you're going to get 7 turnovers over, you're not going to win. I can guarantee it. It was just crazy. What an embarrassment for the Cardinals. But here we are.
What a game. What a game. Hey, listen,
game, though.
Before we get in, Super Bowl's going to be phenomenal. Hey, listen, let me ask you, have you already made your arrangements for the big day? Not Super Bowl day, but Valentine's Day.
Well, okay. Now here's another complicated situation I'm in. Okay. Okay. Well, here it is, Bob. Valentine's Day is on a Sunday, which is my day off.
Yeah.
I have Sunday, Monday off, but it's a crazy day there. And here's the dilemma. They want me to work, but it's my regular scheduled day off. What are we going to do? So, of course, it's a big money day, of course, but we have a set menu, and we call it Energy Day. Because what happens on Valentine's Day, and this is a great segment into the restaurant Ron and I had dinner at, but people go out on Valentine's Day, which usually doesn't, they usually never go to the restaurants and so forth. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, it is, we call it amateur night because people come in and can Napa, you got a hamburger. No, seriously, it is amazing what they try to do. And it's a set price. I think it's $120 a couple. I mean, $120 a person. Mm-hmm. And it's a nice, elaborate, 5-course dinner and so forth. And people come in, what's this? I don't even know what this is. And it's like, why are you here? And he looks at his wife or girlfriend, and she wanted to come here. And it's like, well, look where you're going to. You're going to spend this. It's a top-notch restaurant. She wants something nice. Either you play the game and enjoy it or go somewhere else. I mean, it is crazy on Valentine's Day. It is my, as I say, it's love. I'm a lover, not a fighter, but my God, in the restaurant world, it is the worst night out. Yeah. So here I am. Okay, we're safe because it's a set menu. You can't try to get a hamburger.
John, I'm going to be thinking about you while Marlene and I have our Valentine's dinner at the Anaheim White House.
No way you're going.
Yep.
So we may join you.
We got a 5. Well, you know what? Call over there. Tell them that I've got a 5:30 reservation, and you and Raina join us.
Is it just you and Marlene?
Yeah. So it would be me and Marlene and you and Raina.
Okay, that'd be perfect. As I say, right now I don't know what my situation. As I say, it's on a Sunday, which is my regular scheduled day off.
Well, if you're there, if you show up, we'll make room at the table for you.
Maybe we should just do a show there that evening.
Not on Valentine's Day. Listen,
you're right, buddy. The girls will be upset with us.
I don't want to give up those kind of jewels on Valentine's Day.
I hear you, my friend. I hear you. So we will figure out what's going on in the next couple of weeks, and I will let you know. And if I am off, we're there. Let's have a nice evening at the White House, and I'm sure Franco's going to be there. I'm sure Bruno's going to be there.
Yeah.
So it'll be a fun evening, and let's do it. Yeah. But I tell you, you invited me to a Super Bowl party at a place is as old as the Golden Spur.
Yep.
Over in Pico Rivera.
Yep.
That is one of the classic restaurants like the Golden Spur. It's been here for 40, 50 years.
Del Rey, exactly.
I wasn't going to say it, but Del Rey. Another great restaurant that, gosh, it's been a long time since we've been there. That is still around. And there's only a handful. I mean, gosh, how many of those old restaurants the only place I know that does, and this is what's great, that plays into everything. Where I'm going for a Super Bowl party is South Point. I go every year for the last 5 years with my buddy Ron. But our favorite restaurant in Vegas has moved there, Michael's.
Yes.
And I probably won't be able to do this show in a couple of weeks because Monday night we're going to be at Michael's having dinner. We're prolonging our stay just to have dinner at Michael's, which is now at South Point, no longer at the Barbary Coast.
Yeah, but you're not going to have dinner at 4:00 in the afternoon.
No, but I don't know what condition I'm going to be in to do a radio show.
That might be fun to have you call in when you're 3 sheets to the wind. I don't think I've ever seen you 3 sheets to the wind.
Let me throw this at you. Why don't you come out and join Ron Yvette, Raina, and myself, and have dinner that Monday at Michael's at South Point in Vegas?
Oh, I wouldn't horn in on Ron.
No. You and Ron know each other very well. That would be outstanding. And I actually talked to Ron about this.
Oh, you did?
Yes. Oh. I go, do you know Bob? He goes, I know Bob very well. Why? Hey, why don't we do a radio show from Michael's in Vegas that Monday?
Oh, that would be near impossible.
It would. Okay.
Oh yeah, but by the time the equipment is so massive now that to do that I don't think Michaels would let us set up.
Well, we have plenty of time yet. We have a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I tell you what, we're going to leave the door open.
Okay.
How about?
Okay.
Let's leave the door open, and we'll talk about that.
Okay.
How's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. But hey, let's talk about you. When's the first time you went to the Golden Stair?
Oh my goodness, it's been years. I mean, the first time it was years ago. You know what? I want to say maybe
60s.
No, I'd say in the 80s.
Oh, okay. As I said, when Ron was in high school,
yeah,
he used to take his dates there. So I know.
Yeah, but see, when I was in high school, I went to an all boys high school in Anaheim, California.
Survey.
Yeah, Servite High School. First graduating class of Servite High School. But the great part about that was that we had reciprocation with 2 all-girls schools. Boy, I want to tell you what, I thought I died and went to heaven. Anyway, when we would go to dinner, I wasn't driving all the way out here for dinner.
Right. Well, Ron went to he grew up in the Rancho Cucamonga area, so Ron, great athlete. Played for the Mets in 77, Padres 78, 79, and so forth. No, Ron's 6'5". He's probably 2 something now, but now, he's 60 some years old now, but, great athlete, great pitcher, played for the Twins, the Mets, and the Padres. Incredible athlete, and the stories this guy has is just amazing. But big sports advocate, of course. And I say that's what we go every year. One of his best friends owns South Point, and he was one of the conglomerates that had the Rio, South Coast, Barbary Coast, that whole conglomerate of that.
Right.
And he decided to buy out, and he said, "Hey, give me South Point. You can have all the other casinos." And they said, "Are you kidding me?" He said, "Yes." And he was such good friends with all of the staff at Michaels, which we loved for so many years.
Yeah.
And he made a deal with them. He said, "Listen, everybody, it has to be 100%. If one person says no, it's not going to be a deal. But I'm going to open this casino called South Point, and I want to bring everything, the entire staff, everything over from Michaels to South Point and open up Michaels. But the same door. Remember the door with the glass in front of it?
The single door with the leaded glass, and you walk in, there's a big Tiffany lamp in the ceiling.
That is there. That is all there. They basically took it and moved it to South Point. The same chef, the entire staff moved. And he actually paid the entire staff the few years that was in construction until they moved it.
Wow.
I mean, the guys, I would love to have this guy on the show. I mean, amazing guy.
Oh, yeah.
He loved that restaurant. And I told him, I go, me and my buddy, that was our favorite restaurant in Vegas for years.
Oh, yeah.
It was his as well, and he told the staff, "Listen, the Barbary Coast, they're doing just major changes. I am out of the loop, and I'm just going to do this one casino, but I want Michaels to come over as a whole. But if one person says no, it's not a deal." So they had a whole restaurant meeting. It went 100%. We want to move, and he told them, "It's going to be 2 years, but I'm going to pay you this for 2 years."
Wow.
Until we open, and he did. I mean, what an amazing man! I mean, what a great story. Amazing man, and Michaels is still there at South Point now. It is the same stuff: the table side, the Dover Sofa 2, all the old memories. And it was funny because that is the theme of the show tonight. Because we went to this Golden Stair. I had Oyster Rockefeller, we had steamed clams, we had just total old school.
Yep.
And here's the funny part of it. Ron and I said, I've known Ron almost as long as you and Marlene and so forth. And what they do, they go all out on decorations. Christmas, Halloween, there's cobwebs everywhere. And we go in this restaurant, it's everything about hearts and love and all this stuff, because Valentine's Day coming up.
Yeah.
And I looked at Ron, I go, Ron, are you trying to tell me something here?
Hey, listen. So I want to know. Whoa. So I need to know. Was he at least holding your hand when he answered?
No. But here's the classic thing. Ron played right with it. He goes, John, I've known you for almost 30 years. And I've been holding this in for almost 30 years.
Hey, hold that thought. We've got to go on a commercial break. When we come back, you're gonna have to tell me what he was holding for 30 years. We'll be right back with my own John Hanson, that little old wine drinker, after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:22 p.m. Pacific time. In good old Southern California, it's 69 degrees. If you're in New York City, it's 36 degrees and clear. Chicago, 39 degrees and rain. And if you're lucky enough to be in Paris, France at 1:22 a.m. tomorrow morning, it's 46 degrees and partly cloudy. We're talking to my good buddy, John Hanson, that little old wine drinker. And hey, John, you got the microphone, buddy.
Well, Bob, not to be anticlimactic, I mean, we kind of ended it at an incredible moment.
No, you were holding Ron Gill's hand, and he was explaining to you for 30 years he's been holding this in. I want to hear this story.
Well, but as I said, I'm looking at the room, and as I said, they go all out for certain occasions. They do a special, every occasion, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, of course, Valentine's Day, Easter. They really do the whole 9 yards on the decorations. And he goes, let's meet here. I've never been to the Golden Steer. But it definitely reminded me of all those old restaurants and so forth. And it was fun because the booths are green. And I said, Don, let me ask you a question. Were these booths red when you were coming back in the 60s or whatever, when you were taking your first states here from high school and early in college? And he goes, I think they were.
Yeah, actually, I think the first time I went, they were red.
Yeah, and that was a trend. But not to kill the moment, Ron looked at me and he pretended he had to turn his eye and he goes, I love you, man.
All right.
It was just a classic thing.
Well, you know what? So one day you and I need to meet back at either the Golden Spur or maybe Del Rey.
Let's go. We haven't been to Del Rey, and we went with Matt the Army.
Yeah.
And we had a great dinner there. It was Raina, myself, Matt the Army, a couple people, and we stayed there with the owners.
Oh yeah.
Until the wee hours in the morning. I mean, the restaurant was closed. We sat there and we had a great conversation. I would love to get them on the radio. I'm sure they would love to do that too.
Yeah.
Or maybe even do a show there. We got to get mobile. I mean, we got to get mobile, and
we can actually do that. It's not as easy because the equipment to move it and then set it up and get it all done takes a little bit of time. But we could certainly, as long as they gave us the space to set up with, we could certainly do it. But most places are not, by the time you get done with a 2-hour show and then you have to take everything down again, it could be disruptive to the place, and they have to be able to give us a high-speed internet connection.
Well, as I said, as long as the Del Rey as long as they have a high-speed internet, I mean, I bet you they'd be more than welcome to. And, as I said, especially on the Monday, which really isn't it's not like Friday or Saturday or Sunday out there.
Yeah.
For promotion. And as I said, we, those restaurants are a dime a dozen now, and it does bring back memories. I mean, I grew up with that stuff. I started the business back there in those restaurants, where I remember one of the first.
John, do you remember the size of the lobster tail at the Del Rey? I mean, that thing, it's
probably, remember the New York was hanging half off the plate with the New York, for Pete's sake. It was crazy, the size of portions. And back then, it was funny. And this was what really started, not to get back to the wines, which we are a wine show now, I guess, supposedly, but we have offered our
food and wine.
Yeah, food, wine, beer. We added beer since I became a Cicerone as well. But back then, it was more, quantity than quality.
Yeah.
And back in the early 80s, when they started passing like the drinking driving laws, it's not about having 5 bottles of wine at the table. It's about having one nice bottle at the table.
Yeah.
And that's what really launched the Napa Valley and the incredible wines that we have now.
Oh, hey, John, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. You'll never guess who I had a magnificent lunch with on Saturday. Andre Bernol.
No.
Yep. I met him in Pasadena. We went to the Porto Alegre. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's one of those Argentina restaurants. It's sort of
yeah.
And I mean, it was fantastic. We must have spent 4 hours in that place, had some magnificent wines and some cocktails, and ate until we couldn't eat anymore. And we were talking about the trip that you had made up there when you and Raina got married, and we were just reminiscing. It was just fantastic.
Well, I said that family is. I would do anything for them. They just totally rolled out the red carpet. It was like whatever you want. And you know what's funny was Fabrice.
Yeah.
The cake he did, although he spelled my name wrong, but the cake, he made a wine bottle. Yeah. Now, how many people have a wine bottle for their wedding cake?
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one. I'm sure I'm not the only. There's probably a handful of people that have had that. Well,
there's very few people where the host actually kills a pigeon with a champagne cork.
Oh my God! That had to be a 1 in a million shot, and he was like, "I got this." The pigeon's gone. I mean, oh my God! We can have Fabrice on and do a month worth of shows that would just our stay there. I mean, just amazing. But when they came here, I mean, even when Fabrice came, when his dad and mom came, I mean, the time we had and the experiences we had are just amazing. They're second to none. And as I said, we can probably do many a show just with Fabrice's family. And to this day, as I said, I wanted to have the ultimate wedding, and they made it for me. I mean, how many people out there? I mean, you can have people call in that actually got married in the middle of a vineyard in Bordeaux and had a wine bottle for a cake, and the host shot a pigeon with a champagne cork. I'm going to say it's only me, Bob. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's on. If there's one other person out there calling right now and tell me that's your same exact, wedding that we had. Yeah, I mean, it was just amazing.
Yeah, that was just a phenomenal experience. It was terrific. And you know what? And it wasn't just one day. It was like, God, it must have been like a week that we put together there.
Well, we had the French trip. We met you in Paris.
Yeah.
And it was just, I mean, the whole trip was unbelievable because, we did a New York thing with my family, and then we came back and did a California thing with Brandon's family.
Yeah.
But we actually missed our flight, and the experience for my son at his age back then, I mean, he's 24 now. He was at his 24th birthday. Yeah. This was like 8 years ago. So, I mean, he was just a young teenager. And to live the experience that he lived, we missed a flight. So we're spending the night basically in the airport because our next flight's 7 a.m. Okay, it's now, 11:30 at night. Our flight's at 7. Where are we going to go? And everything was booked up because it was the 4th of July weekend. Yeah. Basically, so it was just crazy. And we couldn't find a room. We couldn't. So it was an experience. And I tell you, he grew up that weekend. But to come to Europe and experience Europe, and as I said, we actually stayed at Philippe's place, and then we went off to the castle for our honeymoon in France. But all the kids and they stayed at this place, I don't know, about a half a mile down the road, and they didn't speak a bit English. And it was funny because that night they had dinner and they had no idea what they were eating. They just like, I'll just take this. And it's like, what is this? And they're like, what are you saying? It's like, what am I eating? They had no idea.
John, the very first time that Marlene and I ever went to Europe, or went to in France is what I'm thinking about. And years ago, I mean, they didn't have English menus, and they didn't have anybody that spoke English. And I can remember everybody was kind of embarrassed. Hal, Connie, Marlene, and I had spent 8 weeks in Europe, and we were in France. Matter of fact, we were in Versailles. We had stopped in Versailles, and we went into this restaurant. Nobody spoke English, and everybody. I could read a little bit of French, but what I wound up doing is I grabbed this waiter by the shirt, and I indicated, follow me. And I walked around the restaurant looking at all the different places, and I pointed at what I want. I was the only one of the four of us that had a magnificent meal.
Well, I mean, that's what Rain will say to you today. It's like she doesn't even order anymore because every time we go out, she orders something I order something. She winds up eating half my food because she doesn't like what she ordered. And she goes, why did you tell me to order this? I'm like, how do I know what you want?
Yeah.
Well, what do you want? You said you wanted this, so you ordered that, and you don't like it. She always likes mine better. So now it's like, you know what? I'm going to eat a little bit before we go out because I know my wife's going to eat half my dinner because she's going to order. It's tradition now.
Yeah, now it's easy because all the really good restaurants, have an English menu, so it's easier for Marlene. Yeah. But I'd find myself saying, okay, what are you hungry for? They've got steak, they've got sole, they've got fish, they've got all these things. What are you hungry for? And then I'll order it for her. But what a great opportunity to go. And when we talk about your honeymoon, we talk about you getting married. The thing that really sticks in my mind is two things. Up in the terrace of your yes, up in the terrace of your room at the Metropole Hotel, you had wine and cheese overlooking the Grand Canal, and Marlene and I and you and Raina. And then that night we went to the La Caravelle for dinner, and we had a magnificent dinner at the La Caravelle in their courtyard. And then we went for the last gondola ride that they had. I had arranged that, and you brought Prosecco, and we were side by side, two different gondolas, passing the Prosecco back and forth.
Oh, and we had cheese and Prosecco, and they, as I said, it was the last. And you said, "Listen, I've done this many times." Yep. It was our first time there. He said, "We've got to get the last ride." Yeah. So you went in advance and said, "Listen, we need the last one." They go, "Okay, you got the last one." And they were so accommodating. It was like, "What do you want to do? You want me to do this? You want to do it?" I mean, it was great, and there was nobody out there.
Yeah,
you and I. Yeah, and it was just breathtaking. It was just amazing. And honestly, Bob, I don't know how I can ever repay you for that. That was just an experience of a lifetime. That was just amazing.
Yeah, you never have to repay anything like that. That's a memory. I know, for all of us.
Bob, all your listeners, if you ever go to Venice, now you know what to do. You get there early and get the last gondola.
Yeah, you invite John and Raina, Marlene and I, and we make these arrangements for you, and you'll never forget it.
Just pay the way. Yeah, we'll take care of everything for you because we know what's going on.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. But I tell you, at that Monopole Hotel, we get there, and the room was just nice. And it wasn't as fancy as your. I can't remember the hotel's name that you were at. The Diplomat,
we were at the Excelsior. We were at the Excelsior.
The Excelsior, the Excelsior, just beautiful. But we get in a room, and there was this door that I think was locked at first. And somehow we opened it up, and the stairway, Bob. I mean, if you were like, there's no way. It was so small. I mean, the girls were easy, but you and I had problems getting up there because it was so tiny.
Yeah.
But once you got up to the roof, there was a little table and chairs, and we saw the entire everything. The ships coming in. You're right at the mouth of where the gondolas take off. I mean, it was just breathtaking. And we just ordered this cheese plate, and we got some Prosecco. And I said, just come up to our room. We got something special. You got to see this. Yeah. And you had no idea what we were doing. And we come down here because they had a great little patio bar down there at the Monopole. Mm-hmm. But we went up to this thing, and it's like, go up this door. And when I opened the door, you look at the stairs, and you're like, where are you taking me?
You know what?
When you got up there on the roof, it was amazing.
John, I don't think that Marlene and I, and we are well traveled. We've traveled all over the world. I don't think we've ever been to a place more romantic than Venice.
Bob, honestly, as I said, if you want to go somewhere, by far the most romantic city in the world is Venice. I mean, and thanks to you, Marlene. I tell you, there's a lot of great cities. It's very romantic and so forth, but I tell you, If it's a special thing, Venice has to be number one to be the most romantic city in the world.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? And what great memories. So listen, we are. It's time for us to say sayonara, but we need a wine pick of the week first.
Yeah, it was funny. And okay, and this is going to tie into my lunch too, because as I said, I've been promoting. I don't work for Costco. And I'm going to say that.
You know what? I bet you're getting kickback from Costco.
Bob, I haven't received. I'm waiting. I haven't received a dime yet. So I got a bill. I'm going to send them real soon.
Yeah.
But we did, and it's funny because it's a throwback. I mean, if you remember those days in the 70s and stuff, the old table side and everything. I don't know if they have table side anymore, but the waiter was in his 50s, and it's fun because he goes, Opus One, Jordan, like Bag Sleep, all these old things, not the like the Rivers Marie, the new upcoming wineries, and my buddy, last year. Do I got a couple minutes? How much time do I got?
Well, you know what? You're out of time, but take a couple minutes. That's okay.
Okay, I'm going to take a couple minutes. And the thing is, last year he said the Rams will never come to California, and I'm a big Met fan, and he goes, the Mets would never make the playoffs, and of course his team was the Dodgers, and they beat the Dodgers. So I go, you got to bring something special. So he brought a Jordan Cabernet. And which was one of the best Cabernets out of Alexander in its day in the 80s and so forth.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure he paid a decent price for that, but, I paid $20-some for this Providence Cabernet, and it just showed it up. I mean, and I was so proud. I'm like, you probably paid $80 for that Jordan Cabernet. I paid $28 for this.
Yeah.
And we were talking, I go, God, I like the Providence better than the Jordan. I go, no, I definitely like the Providence. So, bang for the buck. Let's just keep it going with that, because that's what our lunch was about. And hey, if you like that old school thing, go back to the gold. We got to go have lunch here too, just to reminisce and then go back to old time and so forth. So let's do a plug for the Golden Spear, and let's once more do the Providence Cab for 20. You can't beat it. It is bang for the buck out there. Just an amazing cab. Go out and get it, and we'll talk next week, and hopefully we can do something special for the Super Bowl weekend for the week after.
Yeah, we'll try that. All right, my friend.
Okay.
You know what? Have a wonderful evening. Give your lovely wife a hug and a kiss, and tell her I'm thinking about her. And hopefully, if we don't see you in Vegas, we'll see you at the Anaheim White House. And basically,
on Valentine's Day. Absolutely.
Yeah. So have a wonderful evening. Treat everybody, like you do all the time. Make them feel special, and stay safe, stay happy, buddy.
You too. Send love to Marlene.
I will. Take care. Now, if the rest of you do not go away, when we come back, we're going to do the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard Business Tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, They're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now from Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know what? We're running a little over, so I'm going to stop the weather, stop all the other stuff. Just know that it's beautiful here in Southern California, God's country. But let's start off with the Harvard Business Tip of the day. And the management tip today is business travel doesn't have to drain your productivity. You know, many professionals spend a lot of time traveling, but work doesn't stop just because you're in a transit. Here's how to accomplish more from the road. First, engage in professional development by listening to podcasts. Yeah, even podcasts like what we're doing. We give this Harvard Business Tip of the day every day. And use airport lounges to make short phone calls. Keep a to-call list so that you can cluster calls and bang them out in a row, just to make them efficient, right? And download necessary files to your computer ahead of time in case you have spotty Wi-Fi. A lack of internet access might actually help you focus on the work that you need to get done. And then finally, set aside some travel time for strategic renewal. Do some pleasure reading or take a nap. Taking some downtime from work will enable you to be sharper when you get back down to business. That's the way you travel. You've got to make it productive. Now, let's talk about the secret daily teachings for your life. You know, I've talked about this so many times. This is all about a positive mental attitude, and today's no different. Just know that you control your life, whether you're happy or you're sad, whether you're successful or you're a failure, whether you're rich or you're poor. You decide how it's going to be. Well, the lesson for today is no one else is an expert of you, and the moment you think someone is, you have given away your power. You are the only one who is the expert of you. When you don't know what to do or how to handle a situation or which path to take or how to manifest something or whatever it is you may want guidance on, use the principles of the secret and ask. Direct your asking to the inside of you. Believe you will be answered and you will receive the perfect answer for you. You have access to all the wisdom, all the knowledge, and all the power of the universe inside you. That is why you are the expert of you. Don't ever forget it. Well, you know what today is. Sure you do. Today is Monday, January the 25th, and it is somebody's birthday. Oh, yeah, and we've got some great birthdays for today. Did you know, here's a person that was born in 1882, passed away in 1941, a novelist regarded as one of the foremost modernist literary figures of the 20th century. Happy birthday, Virginia Woolf. And in 1951 to 1975, an American middle and long-distance runner who helped inspire the running boom. Happy birthday, Steve Prefontaine. And then finally, born in 1981, a singer and co-founder of Global Ambassador of Keep a Child Alive. For her work, she was given a humanitarian award. Happy birthday, Alicia Keys. Yeah. Well, what happened today in history? January 25th, 1881. Thomas Edison and Alexander Graham Bell from the Oriental Telephone Company. Yep, that's what happened. It started then. And in 1890, Nellie Bly completes her round-the-world journey in 72 days. Wow. You know, you can jet planes today. You can do that in a day. How about this? 1949 at the Hollywood Athletic Club, the first Emmy Awards were presented in 1949. And finally, January 25th, 1961 in Washington, D.C., John Fitzgerald Kennedy delivers the very first live presidential television news conference. And our quote for today comes from George John Nathan. He says, "Love is an emotion experienced by the many and enjoyed by the few." Boy, isn't that a fact? Sure it is. Well, you know what? It's time for those interesting but useless facts. Let's get right to them. We've got a few going on. We're running caught up pretty well here. Did you know that Marco Polo was born on the Croatian island or Korčula, pronounced Korčula? Yeah. And did you know the first laser was constructed in 1960 by Theodore H. Maiman of the United States using a rod of ruby? Yeah, isn't that exciting? That's something, huh? Sure it is. How about this? An elevator was installed in the Palace of Versailles in 1743. Run by a series of hand-operated weights, gears, and pulleys, it was used by Louis XV to go from his own apartments to those of his mistress, Madame de Chartres, on the floor above him. Yeah, need an elevator for that. He didn't want to be too tired. You understand, right? Sure you do. You know that boxing is considered the easiest sport for gamblers to fix? Yeah, but did you hear? They're talking about tennis has been fixed. They're being accused of it. We'll probably get more on that in tomorrow's news, but that's disappointing. Did you know the use of telephone answering machines became popular in 1974? Boy, have we come a long way on that too, huh? Did you know that of the top 10 grossing movies of the 1980s, 7 were either produced or directed by Steven Spielberg or George Lucas? They also represent the men behind the top 3 grossing films of the 1970s. Now, that you have got to find interesting. Now, let me leave you with this. If emissions of carbon dioxide were halted today, it would take more than a century for the atmospheric level of carbon dioxide to approach its pre-industrial level. Now, you don't worry about global warming? Give that some thought. In the meantime, do not go away. We're going to come back. I'm going to answer your emails. The first one comes from Jonathan McMillan from Chesapeake, Virginia. He's asking about the value of a stamp collection, and I'm going to tell him all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, we're coming down to the wire. Time for me to answer your emails. Just want to remind you that you always want to consult a licensed professional before you do anything out there. They're going to save you more money than they're going to cost you, and they're going to give you peace of mind, let you sleep at night, because they're required to have errors and omissions insurance, same thing as malpractice insurance. But that does mean that if you give you bad advice, they pay the piper, not you, and that's got to give you a comfortable feeling, right? Yeah. Well, let's get right to it. First email comes from Jonathan McMillan from Chesapeake, Virginia. He's asking about the value of a stamp collection, and he says, I inherited a valuable stamp collection from a relative who had inherited it years earlier from another relative. If I sell it or part of it, how do I calculate my gain? I have no possible way of finding out how much the stamps cost the original collector. Well, you know what, Jonathan? You don't need to know how much the stamps originally cost to calculate gain on their sale. When you inherited them, they received what's known as stepped-up basis. That's their cost for tax purposes and became their value on the date or on the alternate valuation date 6 months later if that was actually elected. Now, generally, gain or loss on a future sale will be determined from that amount. There are some exceptions to this rule. Be sure that you have a solid appraisal of the collection's value as of the date that you inherited it, and keep it in your permanent records. Now, if you think you might sell off separate items of the collection, get separate appraisals of the items in it as of the inheritance date, and that's going to solve all of your problems. Well, next email comes from Holly Mondragon from Lincoln, Nebraska, asking about medical deductions, and says, I'm a divorced parent with custody of my children, although my ex-husband claims the dependency exemption for them under the terms of our divorce. If I pay medical costs for the children, may I take a medical deduction for them even though the children aren't my dependents? Well, Holly, yes, you may. Not everyone realizes this because the general rule that one can take medical deductions only for costs paid on behalf of dependents did at one time apply to divorced parents too, but this has been changed. Today, if either parent claims a child as a dependent, a parent who pays medical costs on behalf of the child can claim a medical expense deduction for those costs. So hopefully that's helped you. Next email comes from Dominic Moreno from Riverside, California, asking about a Roth conversion, and says, my fiance has an IRA that she wants to convert to a Roth, but after we marry, our joint income will be more than the $100,000 limit in doing so. Can we get around this by making the conversion before our wedding day later this year? Dominic, no. I'm sorry, but no. Marital status for the entire year is determined by the status at year end, and a conversion isn't possible for those filing a joint return with income over $100,000. It's also not possible to escape the income limit by filing a separate return, since separate filers aren't eligible to make a conversion. Now, to be eligible to make the conversion this year, you'll have to find some way to reduce your joint income to under that $100,000 limit for the year, or remain unmarried until the end of the year, and that could be a worse thing for you. So be careful about that. Now, my last email comes from Christine Ortiz from Kansas City, Missouri, asking about a home sale exemption, and says, I know that one must have used a home as a primary residence for 2 of the prior 5 years to take tax-free gain on its sale, but is the date of the sale included in the 2 years? That is, can I rent my home out for 3 years before selling it? You know what? Great question, Christine. And the answer is yes. As long as you still meet the 2 of 5 year residency test, you can sell your home for a tax-free gain of up to $250,000 or $500,000 on a joint return, less any depreciation taken during the rental period, even after having converted it to a for-profit rental. So hopefully that's answered your questions and that helps you. Great questions today, and I think that they were great. I want to remind you that we want you to get our app. You can go to the Apple Store and just search Robert Cardoza Live, or you can go for Android and Windows by going to googleplay.com and search Robert Cardoza Live. The app is absolutely free. Download it, and you'll be able to listen to our show worldwide, no matter where you're at. You can listen to us live if we're broadcasting live, or you can listen to all of our archive shows. They're right there. You can even chat with us during the show if you choose to do that, and we'd appreciate it. We'd like you to also tell all of your friends about our app and have them get it too. Please tell everybody about our show. On my next show, Sean LaFave and I are going to be solving the world's problems and talking healthcare. Please tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. We hope that you've enjoyed it, and we hope that they'll enjoy it too.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.